Wallyball originated on the West Coast during the late 70s, and it's kind of like the love child of racquetball and volleyball. It's always been played on a racquetball court, but fast forward to the 2017 version, and the sport is changing. For one thing, just like for everything else in Brooklyn, space has gotten tighter for volleyballers too. Here to explain what that means and more are the Executive Director of Volleyball International, George Cassius. Welcome back, man. It's been quite some time, right?
Good to be here.
Good to be here also. And also along with him is one of the top volleyballers players in the country, Ben Smyth. In fact, he's the four-time national champion, right?
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hey. So, man, explain to us what's volleyball before us, for the folks watching us for the first time.
Volleyball is volleyball played on a racquetball court. It's basically the same type of rules. You play 3 against 3. The side walls are good. The back wall is out. The ceiling is out. And the ball at the higher level, which we coach, which Ben plays in, is traveling about 80 miles an hour. If you look on the TV, you'll see it. It doesn't appear that way, but we actually clocked it. Mm-hmm. So again, it's volleyball played on a racquetball court with the side walls being good. The ball is a little different. It's got a rubber texture. It's got a blue coloring, so you could see it coming off the wall.
Now, the sport's changing, right? I mean, space has gotten tighter. You move from a racquetball court now to a squash court.
Yep.
Why?
Okay, so we're trying to increase the sport. And the only way to do it is there's only so many racquetball courts. Approximately, they say there's about...
So it is a space thing in a way, right?
It's absolute space.
It is, yeah. And I think that, racquetball is a sport that's been struggling too. And I think that opening up to squash courts, which there are definitely more squash courts around the U.S. than there are racquetball courts, it kind of will expand the game of volleyball potentially through that.
I mean, the game is quick as it is. It's going to be much more quicker now at a faster pace, moving at such a faster pace on the racquetball court. Now, you're going to move to a squash court, and you're going to have less players on the squash court than when you had on the racquetball court,
yeah,
right?
Normally the squash court is about 8 foot shorter than a racquetball court, so you have a smaller, tighter space, yet it is 1 foot wider. And instead of playing 3 against 3, we're playing doubles, 2 against 2. And again, I was talking about the higher level, but we also have at the collegiate level, we have at the high school level, people are playing volleyball across the United States.
So, in generally, it's going to be...
It's going to grow.
It's going to move
it
also.
Has to.
Okay, and it's going to move, I mean, from a racquetball court.
It's going to continue. We will have both. In racquetball, you'll have your normal triples that everybody's accustomed to, or doubles, whereas in the squash court, it'll probably just be doubles.
Right. And it's also an advantage for a person like yourself, right? You're 6'5", right?
Yeah, and I think that, beach has done the same thing, where they've gone to a smaller court. It's been an advantage for bigger players. And I think you'll see people that are playing all over the country on the old, bigger beach courts, but also the newer, smaller ones. So I think that it can, we can play in either environment, and it's kind of a very similar game.
Right. Has technology also seeped into the sport?
Not really. We've remained pretty much the same. Our rules have maintained to the older rules, where you have to bump the serve, as opposed to hand reception. We've maintained it basically to how it was back in the 80s. Nothing has changed. The ball has remained pretty much identical. The shirts are what they are.
And one of the best things about volleyball is the actual texture of the ball itself, just that it has more of a racquetball kind of texture to it, so you can kind of spin and do things that you can't typically do in volleyball.
This week's a big tournament, right?
This week, I think it's our 35th year. It's the 3rd year that we're having what we call the Memorial Tournament in honor of Andrew Cassius at Eastern Athletic Club. And it's King of the Court. Ben is going to have to play 16 games. And there's 10 of the best players in the country that will play nonstop 16 games, and the one player will come out the winner and have the bragging rights for the whole year.
So it starts with Friday, or it starts Saturday?
Just Sunday. It's one day. They start at 10 in the morning. We'll probably end about 7 in the evening.
Okay. All right.
And anybody that would like to come by our club, the Eastern Athletic Club in Brooklyn Heights, which is the premier club for volleyball and has been since the 80s, you're welcome.
How's the competition look?
The competition is looking good. Yeah, there's some really good young players that are out there that are definitely forcing everyone to kind of elevate their game. And I think that, we've had, consistent players kind of over the years, and George has done an amazing job of building this community, and we really have people from all over the world that are playing this sport.
So that's Sunday, right? Where?
That's Sunday at Eastern Athletic Club, 43 Clark Street in Brooklyn, which is the headquarters of the national champion players.
All right, good. George, thanks for coming.
Okay.
Thank
If
you.
you'd like more information,
Thank you.
easternathleticlubs.com or the website wallyball.com.
All right, cool.
Either one of those sites, you'll see a lot more on volleyball.
Thank you.